Welcome back to the Stormcast, everyone. This is the podcast where we talk all things TABC sports. My name is Ali Hochberg. I'm here with my co-host Oren Glickman in the car. Got to go into a crazy week of TABC sports. Last week of the winter sports regular season. Oren, how you doing? You looking forward to this week?
I'm exhausted. Probably not going to get any shut eye. This is the worst time of year for any athletic director when everybody wants a piece of you. You know, the winter sports are wrapping up while the spring sports want to start to get underway. So it's been a challenge. It's an exciting time, but a busy time. And
Yeah.
yeah,
I just want to give you a shout out for joining us tonight. You had JV practice, opening the gym, and we all appreciate it. But this is a massive week of sports coming up, and you're gonna be busy. Um, and so we'll start it off tomorrow night, rivalry game. We're off from break. This is the last week of the regular season. From Wednesday to Tuesday, it's all the final games of the regular season, and then we go into playoff time and then spring sports. So tomorrow night, we're filming this on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, 7:30. TABC varsity basketball going to Frisch. Last time played Frisch. Frisch came to TABC, took over the pit. But the main point is TABC outlasted Frisch. What do you expect tomorrow night?
well, this is a much bigger game for Frisch than it is for TABC. Frisch is pretty much playing for their playoff life, while TABC got a big break. No pun intended. They got a big break over break with SAR dropping both games to Ramaz. So the one seed is pretty much theirs for the taking, unless they were to trip up against Frisch tomorrow night. Then the door would somehow miraculously open up for MTA to clinch the one seed. But I expect the team to take care of business and then have a fun senior night the following night against JEC. And they'll have a long break until the quarterfinals with that first round bye.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever talked about I know we previewed that MDY game that was right before break, weirdly in the middle of midterms. TBC handled business, defeated MDY by 14. MDY is a good team, just probably not on the same level as TBC. Played a tough second quarter as second quarter woes continue, but besides that, TBC really was able to take care of business. And as you mentioned, MTA right now. TBC has the tiebreaker of MTA with handing MTA their only loss currently. But if TABC loses, MTA has a chance to get the one seed, but they have to play SAR. So it should be a good game, as you mentioned. I
Right.
mean, I don't know if you, yeah. Isaac Stetner, star,
Um,
sophomore. Yeah, go on.
yeah. With MTA, they'll be fortunate that Ari Halpert will be unable to play for SAR in that game, and he's pretty much their best player. So you can't assume that MTA is going to trip up. You have to finish the job against Frisch tomorrow night, and then have a fun senior night against JEC. Like I said, Frisch, the game means a lot more to them than it does for TABC. Scenario wise, although these rivalry games, there's always a lot of pride on the line, and it's actually the game could end up being meaningless for Frisch even if they were to win the game. If Frisch wins and Heschel were to beat MTA tomorrow night, then Frisch's last game of the season against Heschel will ultimately determine who gets that final 6 seed in the playoffs.
Exactly. So should be a good game. I think we're all looking forward to it. Frisch is a good team. Not as good as we've seen in the past. Last time we faced each other, TBC won. Sorry, how much did they win by?
They won by 14, I believe.
Won by 14. Okay, I knew somewhere in that range. Okay, so.
But I think Frisch was maybe only down by 1 at halftime.
Yeah, one at halftime.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, TBC won
Because
57 to 43.
those second quarter woes have been plaguing
Yeah.
TABC all season.
Exactly. So it should be a good game, and we'll talk about the second game in a second. We have a doubleheader Thursday night, senior night in varsity basketball and JV basketball playing the final game of the season against JEC. So we'll talk, even despite the fact that I believe JV is playing first. We'll talk about varsity first because it's just simpler to wrap things up. JEC is not one of the best teams in the league by any means. On the bottom of the conference, 3-9. Should be a relatively easy win for this TABC team. Just looking forward to a nice senior night if you want to give any shout outs for senior night.
Yeah, like I said, I think especially if the team can take care of Frisch tomorrow night, Thursday is going to be a very chill night. It's going to be a lot of fun honoring the seniors with their hard work over the last couple of years. And also, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for seniors who maybe didn't see the court as much as they would have liked this year to, get their spot in the limelight, starting the game. We might even see like someone like Eyal Kinderler come off the bench in that game. Um,
Yeah.
so it should be a very fun night, and I think more eyes will be on the JV game. Go figure.
Yeah, and I think we are, as the saying is that the mood will be a little more festive if the JV basketball team can lock up the 1 seed. And just to give a little background, over break, Frisch was handed a loss by SAR, meaning
Wait a second.
that
I have a correction. They're not the
yeah,
1 seed. Ramaz is the 1 seed.
Ramaz is the 1 seed. TABC can only get a bye at this point.
yeah, and I never said 1 seed for JV.
Unless Ramaz loses to MTA.
So Frisch
That's not happening.
Um, Frisch was handed a loss by SAR, opening up an opportunity for TBC to get the bye. Them and Ramaz will get the bye. Because if Frisch had won out and TBC won out and Ramaz went out, they'd all be 8-2. Ramaz and Frisch would have the tiebreakers. But because Frisch lost against SAR, shout out Sam Weiss.
Sam Weiss dropped 40 apparently.
Yeah, I wasn't sure 40, but 40 is crazy. Shout out. And,
Wait, isn't Sam Weiss the senior?
Max Weiss.
Max
Weiss.
Max
Weiss.
Weiss.
Yeah.
I think I assume they're brothers.
Yeah. It's confusing. Both are very good players. Max Weiss dropped 40, opening up an opportunity for TBC to win the 1 seed, and they're playing JEC. Winning JEC, get a bye. I meant bye, not 1 seed. Sorry. Ramaz not the 1 seed.
And also, this goes both ways because JEC are playing for a first-round home playoff game.
Exactly.
In terms of the stakes being high for both teams.
Yeah, and JC is, as we mentioned before on this podcast, JC's no pushover this year. Very good team. Their losses, they beat Hillel, a team that's on the top of the conference, a team that they're competing for the first round home game. The teams they lost to were SIR, Frisch, and Ramaz, three of arguably the best 4 teams in our conference, along with TABC. So they're no pushover as some have, as they've been in the past per se, but it should be a good game. Any players to look out for? Anything to look out for in this game?
Well, keep in mind the teams have already met twice this year and they split. TABC was victorious over JEC in the Rubenstein tournament, and JEC defeated TABC in the Shoresh tournament, which was played in the hockey gym. Pretty much, you stop Aaron Rosazada, you win the game.
Yeah, he's a real star, and
you prevent him from going off, you're most likely going to win the game.
So this is a massive game for JV basketball. Any other notes about this game before we move on to the Boca tournament?
No, I think if they're able to pull off this win, they'll be riding high. I think if you had told any of us that TBC JV basketball would be in the conversation for first round bye in the playoffs before the season had even started, we would have called you crazy. So it's flattering just to be in this position, So hopefully they'll take care of business, and then it's off to sunny and warm Boca Raton, Florida for the Cats tournament.
Exactly. So this is, I believe, the second annual Cats tournament, Cats Shiva Invitational. Are you guys are leaving Motzei Shabbos? Is that correct?
We're leaving Sunday morning.
Sunday morning. Okay.
I don't think it's the second year in its existence, is it?
Oh, really? Okay, I don't know. I made that.
This is TABC's first. This is TABC's first time ever playing.
Yeah. So that's definitely true.
Yeah.
It's the second year knowing of it.
It's
I
a Sunday
apologize for being mistaken, but the tournament should be good. Oren, you want to talk about the tournament? You're going with the team. You want to talk about it?
Yeah, the team departs Sunday morning. It's hopefully going to be, hopefully an opportunity to, unwind a little bit because you are in sunny and warm Boca Raton, but also play high level competitive basketball. TABC was assigned into a pool with Frisch, who we are very familiar with, of course. North Shore, who play in the other conference. So we have not played them yet because you only have the opportunity to play cross conference and varsity, not JV. And the last team that they'll be playing is an out of town team in Shalhevet. Shalhevet's not really known for their JV basketball programs because any good freshmen and sophomores that they have, they usually move up to the varsity team. But it'll still be interesting to take on a West Coast team in Shalhevet.
Yeah, exactly.
And
North
on
Shore.
the other side, you have Cats, Ida Crown, SAR, and Hafter.
Yeah, so it seems like pretty balanced pools, honestly. I'm not sure how much I know about Ida Crown, but
And all the games will be live streamed for all you guys on the East Coast to follow along. Hopefully, Jaylee will put a few games on the monitor in school. Hopefully, our Stormcast IG page will provide the link in our story for our fans. So yeah, should be good.
I think you're still considered the East Coast, though.
I'm still on the East Coast, no, correct?
Yes, you said that all of us on the East Coast. I think you meant the Northeast.
Yeah, the Northeast.
Minor details, but yeah.
Yeah. No, stick to producing.
And here are the final. And then Motzei Shabbos. I probably should have mentioned this first. Motzei Shabbos, before you guys depart, there is varsity hockey going to Hank. Hank is a very talented team. They are one.
It's not a gimme. It's not a gimme
Exactly.
by any stretch.
They are one of the top teams in their division. They are 8-3 in one. 8-3 in one overtime loss. That's what I was trying to say.
And they have arguably one of, if not the best player in the league, and it's hockey.
Exactly. Their losses are to DRS, to Flatbush, and to SAR, meaning three really good teams.
That Flatbush loss is a little bit of an outlier, but
maybe Flatbush.
It's my but I don't know. It's my understanding that they took DRS to overtime at the Greenhouse, so that says a lot.
And SAR, the one team that handed TABC a loss,
right?
They is the only other team they lost to. So this should be a good matchup. Motzei Shabbos 9 o'clock, so a little bit late start, but I guess it's happens. They're going to the Five Towns.
Long Island, not the Five Towns.
Long Island, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm thinking about because 20 minutes away on Motzei Shabbos will be a game happening at the Greenhouse at 8:45. We're not going to typically talk about other schools, but about other schools playing other teams that aren't really associated with the ABC, but with DRS playing Frisch. A battle for the 1 seed in JV hockey at the Greenhouse at 8:45 will determine who plays TABC in the first round of the playoffs, assuming we beat Rambam.
So obviously I'll be traveling with the varsity hockey team to make sure that they rebound from that tough SAR loss against Hank. But I think a lot of us will also be paying attention to that JV game between Frisch and DRS, which is a couple miles away, which is not too far. So maybe if our Hank game ends before, we can stop at DRS on the way home and check out what's happening in that game. I spoke to some players on the team. I think most people are in agreement that we would rather go to Frisch than play at DRS in the playoffs. Avoid that long trip. We played Frisch extremely well by then. Reason why we can't do it again. I think we outplayed them despite falling short. So as the saying goes, third time's the charm, and hopefully that'll be so.
Yeah, and also just from biased fans' perspective, much easier to go to Frisch than go to DRS.
Correct. Don't have to spend money on a fan bus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shout out Helga Lepchik, coach of DRS JV hockey.
Good man. He's a good man.
Exactly.
And SAR will be paying attention to that game too, because they'll go on the road against the
determines
loser.
on who they're playing exactly.
Right.
So it should be a good game against Hank, and also should be a good game DRS versus Frisch. Noak, who runs the Instagram account, post links and stuff. J. Lou, or you can email out links. Maybe not for the DRS Frisch game, but if you want.
The Hank game is very important. They have to. Exactly. Road games are never easy, especially on a Saturday night. That SAR loss was hopefully a good wake up call. and hopefully, and TABC hasn't even officially clinched the 1 seed yet out of their conference. SAR can still catch him, so it's a must win by all means. And then you have a senior night game against Kushner, which is not an easy game either.
Yes. Which we'll get to in a second. TBC will be playing Kushner on senior night. But just a question: who has the tiebreaker if SAR and TBC tie? TBC, because it's like margin of victory, like it is in basketball.
I think it would. I think margin of victory, and if not, yeah, I think it would be margin of victory.
Yeah. Okay.
And if
So
not, and TABC would have the tiebreaker there. But if not margin of victory, it could also go against strength of schedule, and TABC would have the tiebreaker there as well because they defeated DRS.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's with the game against Hank, big game. Then we will be going. Then Monday night, I believe, after still during the Cats tournament.
I'll
Monday
unfortunately
night,
will not be in attendance, but you could be sure that I'll be live streaming on TABC TV. Unfortunately, JV Hockey will be without David Kranzler for that one as well.
Oh, because he's going to be exactly in
But
Boca.
I'm highly confident the boys can get the job done and officially punch our spot in the playoffs. I think we're way overmatched for Rambam to a point where I think you can. I think the fifth line could deliver for you in a game like this.
Yeah, playing Rambam at home at 7:30. Probably again should be a win. Just you can't you got to come out with all guns guns
Yeah,
blazing.
I
It's the
think.
first period.
Listen, I think Rambam are embracing the opportunity to be a spoiler, but all their games have resulted in mercies, which does not bode well for them. But I think TBC have to score quick in this game. They can't. The longer it stays 0-0, the more pressure they're going to start to feel.
Exactly. That's going to be scary if we're getting close to the end of the second period or even the third period and it's tied. That's going to be frightening.
Yeah.
But hopefully we should be able to pull out the win. And going into the final, not final game of the regular season for TABC Winter Sports is arguably the biggest game of the week. Maybe Frisch basketball rivalry, but varsity hockey versus Kushner on senior night. Should be a good pit. Should be a good game. Kushner is a very talented team. One of the few teams that actually put up. I think it's the only team this year.
They put up four. They put up four on Forgash.
Only team besides SAR to put up more than a goal on shy of Forgash.
Well, they both put up 4 on Forgash.
Yeah, I'm saying besides SAR to put up more than one. They put up 4. SAR put up 4. We were able to last Kushner 8-4 in Livingston. It was Sunday morning game, I believe. A little bit of a weird time.
That's the day Noak and I were at MetLife for the tailgate.
Oh yeah. So it should be a good game. If Oren, you want to talk a little bit more?
No, listen, I'll be at this game. I'm in fact flying earlier back from Boca than the team, so I will make it in time for senior night. Would not miss it for the world. I think the adrenaline of senior night in and of itself will push these guys. And I'm kind of surprised. Generally coaches try to schedule senior nights against weaker opponents. So, it's more of a night for celebration. Everybody has an opportunity to play, but Kushner should not be taken lightly by any stretch. Hopefully, every single senior, there's 13 seniors on this team. Hopefully, all of them will be able to check into the game at some point. Kushner have a very talented first line. James Orbach in particular is a very good player. I think Eisenberg is another player who's decent. Kushner, in fact, were at the Hive last night to play against SAR, and they only lost 6-5. That same Hive where TABC lost 4-3. So, yeah. And Kushner, actually, if they were to pull off the upset against us, they would clinch a first-round home game as opposed to going on the road at MTA in the first round. So they'll also have a lot to play for in this one.
I was speaking with someone on the Kushner hockey team the other day. Shout out Poppy Siegel, and he was telling me how Kushner plays teams tough. So
yeah, and I think Kushner has a pretty good track record playing at the Weather Center against us.
Yeah,
I think last year we only beat them by 1.
Kushner right now is 7-5 on the year. They lost,
and they're coached by a TABC alum. No, not a TABC alum. A former TABC student for 2 years played on the team, Jacob Levy.
Wow. Their losses this year, Kushner's losses this year were TBC, SAR twice, Frisch twice, and they lost to Hafter. Meaning, and Hafter again is one of the best teams in the league.
Hafter's decent.
Exactly, they're 9-3. They're a very, very good team.
Yeah.
They almost beat DRS. Yeah. So
They had a 2-0 lead and they blew it.
yeah, I remember. I think there's a TBC game going on.
That
at
was
the
the
same
night
time.
where we were. That's the night where we were at SAR for the doubleheader.
Yeah, I remember now. I was watching on different tabs. It's like I remember watching a TBC game, and then I was checking like every like 15 minutes on that game. They're up 2-0, and then I checked like 30 minutes later. It was like tied 2-2, and then it was like 3-2. I was like, okay. But regardless, should be a very exciting week. Oren, next episode is probably gonna be packed. Probably gonna be summary.
Well,
Recap of this.
hopefully 3 out of 4 of these teams will have first round buys. So
Yeah, and in the one that isn't, is going to the semis. So.
the one who isn't getting a buy has the closest path to the championship. Go figure. And there are no buys in that league, so they couldn't even get a buy if they wanted to.
Exactly. So next episode should be packed. I think everyone will be looking forward to the next episode and the next week in general. It's going to be preview of playoffs, summary of the past week, hopefully an interview in there.
There's going to be a lot of waiting too, because we need the first round to play out first before we even know who we're playing.
Exactly.
But we'll definitely be able to do a JV hockey playoff preview. Not to jinx anything, assuming JV officially clinch their spot in the playoffs and get the job done against Rambam.
We're all going to be scoreboard watching DRS. Frisch, any final notes for the night, Oren?
No, great to find some space and time to do this show with you guys. Thank you for your patience as always, and looking forward to a great basketball week this week and a great hockey week the following week. And then we gear up for playoffs. Wittenberg for the wrestling team. It's going to be a hectic month, but a fun month nonetheless.
Exactly. With playoffs and then championships March 9th, March 16th, and then immediately following that, Sarachek. So should be an awesome from January 28th, basically to March 28th, probably the most hectic 2 months of the year. Should be a great time. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you all.
You could have went
next
further.
week.
There's also Sarachek past March 20th.
Yeah.
Sarachek ends March 31st.
Yeah,
When does it start?
I said January 20th and March 28th because I was rough. I was estimating, obviously. Thank you all for listening. Well, I'll be looking forward to the next week. And have a great night.
Wait.